They said life ends after retirement. They said your best years are behind you, that the world starts shrinking after 60, and that everything from here on is just waiting, fading, forgetting. But they lied. Because what they didn't tell you is that there's a strange kind of freedom that arrives when the alarm clocks stop ringing, when the office badge is retired, when you realize you don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Senior Guidance, your sanctuary for timeless wisdom, reflection, and rediscovering life beyond the calendar. If you're someone who believes that growing older means growing better, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because every week we share life lessons, habits, and stories that remind you it's never too late to feel truly alive again. Now let's talk honestly. Retirement scares a lot of people, not because they don't want to stop working, but because they're afraid of what happens next. The world doesn't teach us how to be still. It teaches us to run, to chase, to hustle. And when you finally stop, you look around and wonder, what now? That's where the real story begins. Meet Charles, who retired at 67 after spending 40 years as an accountant. For decades, his days were ruled by spreadsheets, deadlines, and performance reviews. He thought retirement would feel like a vacation. Instead, the first few months felt like standing in a quiet room with no doors. He sat at the kitchen table one morning, staring out the window, and asked himself, "Am I still useful?" That question haunted him, until one day he took a walk to the library. He picked up a book on birdwatching, something he hadn't done since he was a boy. That small moment, just a walk, just a book, opened a door. Today, Charles volunteers at a local nature reserve, teaches birdwatching to kids, and says he's more at peace now than ever before. That's what they don't tell you. Retirement isn't the end. It's a transition, a pause, a doorway into a version of life you've never had the time to explore. Think about it. When you were working, you were constantly busy, but not always present. You blinked, and your children grew up. You blinked again, and your knees started to ache. Now, finally, the clock slows down, and instead of asking, "What am I retiring from?" the better question is, "What am I retiring into?" Let's take Sarah's story. She was a high school teacher for over 30 years. The classroom was her kingdom, her identity. So when she retired, she felt adrift, like her name had disappeared. But in that quiet space, something unexpected happened. She started writing. First little stories for her grandchildren, then short articles about education, and eventually a blog that now reaches thousands of retired teachers around the world. Sarah didn't lose her identity. She discovered a new way to share it. Retirement didn't erase her purpose. It reshaped it. And that's the truth most people miss. Life after retirement isn't a downgrade. It's an upgrade. But only if you're willing to let go of old definitions of success. Because success after 60 doesn't look like promotions or paychecks. It looks like peace. Like planting tomatoes in your backyard and finally having time to watch them grow. Like having long conversations with your spouse without checking your phone. Like walking without rushing. Eating without multitasking. Sleeping without stress. These are the luxuries most people never get to taste until they slow down. And when they finally do, they realize this is living, not just existing, living. And yes, there are challenges. The body slows, friends move away, the world becomes unfamiliar. But wisdom arrives too, and with it comes a quiet power, the kind that knows you don't have to be loud to be heard, don't have to be fast to be fulfilled. Retirement gives you the one thing money can't buy: time. And time is the soil where joy takes root. Just ask Anand, a 72-year-old widower from Mumbai. After his wife passed, he felt like a faded photograph. His days blurred together in silence, until his daughter suggested he record audio stories for his grandson. That one suggestion turned into a passion. Now he runs a small podcast sharing stories from his childhood, local folk tales, and life lessons, and thousands of people listen every week. He says he feels connected to the world again. Not in the way he used to, but in a richer, deeper way. That's what retirement can be. Not the end. The beginning of a more intentional life. And don't let the media fool you. Life doesn't lose color after 65. In fact, it gains texture. You start appreciating little things. A cup of tea becomes an experience. Morning walks become sacred. A friendly smile from a stranger means more than 100 likes on social media. You stop pretending. You stop performing. And finally, you start being. But here's the catch. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to choose it. You have to stop mourning who you were and start embracing who you're becoming. It's not about age. It's about attitude. Retirement is not a finish line. It's a starting gate, a reset, a sacred invitation to rediscover the joy of simple living. And the beauty is, you don't need grand plans. You just need small sparks. Read that book you always meant to. Visit that friend you kept postponing. Try cooking that recipe from your childhood. Learn to paint. Write your story. Laugh loudly. Cry openly. Love freely. This stage of life is not about performance. It's about presence. And the truth is, you've earned every single moment of it. Don't waste it trying to hold on to the past. Step into the now. And if there's a voice inside you saying, "But I'm too old for that," ignore it. That voice is lying. You're not too old. You're right on time. Because the best things in life don't come in your youth. They come when you finally understand what matters. Connection, peace, purpose. And if you're feeling uncertain, that's okay. Every beginning starts with a little uncertainty. But trust this, you have more life ahead than you think. More stories to tell, more mornings to wake up to, more love to give. So when someone tells you life ends after retirement, smile and remember, they lied. Because for those brave enough to step into this next chapter with open eyes and an open heart, life doesn't end after retirement. It begins.